Alright, so today's video we have a GM5 support on Xbox playing Moira and Kiriko. So we got a GM game. Don't get too many GM games. They say, hey, just ranked up to GM and this is the next game I get. I would love some advice on this replay. Our tank was complaining the whole game that we didn't ban Zen and that the way this game went was because of that. He refused to swap off Hog and was blaming everything on us. The rest of us worked really hard in this game and I don't think a Zen ban would have changed the outcome of this match. I won't spoil the ending, but would love some advice on my gameplay and what I can improve to stay in GM. I am not too confident on Kiriko, so I know that gameplay might be a little rough, but I did the best I could to keep up with our Hog and help him out despite the way he was talking to us in chat. Anyways, love your videos and hope you're having an amazing day / night. I love that. I want to point something out here to the Roadhog though. Like, you can literally line of sight Zen Orb. I don't like playing against Zenyatta also. But, like, if you're worried about the Discord orb, you just gotta hide for a couple seconds, and then you have, like, a 6-second window. And, like, with Hog, you just methodically take the map control, and you probably have decent results on that one. Like, it's... There's counterplay to Discord orb now. We'll see how this game goes, and go from there. And, technically, your team also has a Zen right now against an Orisa, so that Orisa will have no fun either, so... Alright, let's see what happens. Alright, so far, fine. Alright. You got a... Okay, Hog got a hook. Okay. I mean, you could have helped your Hog there, but, like, I don't even think you needed to. I think your Hog just took a 1v1 against an Orisa and got mad. Like, straight up, like... Healing Orb was the right idea, just a good play by their Sombra, but looks like your team did survive that. I think getting the point's way more important there anyway, but we'll see what happens. So wait, just to make this clear, the Hog was more concerned about... Why is the Hog running away? Now I'm just curious now, because I know they were just commenting on everybody else's gameplay, but, like, there's only a Sombra and a Orisa with no HP. What? Like, that's just a free map control. You could just, like, look at, there's only, like, look at it. This is like a free point. Okay, I mean, I guess. Remember, chat, the Zenyatta is the reason why they're having a Zen. That's what's... Okay, let's head back to the Moira. At the very least, you get map control there, and you can win that. You have a support. They have. That would have been. I think that would have been an easy take. All right. Healing Orb's fine. Looks like you're still. Chad, if you're Roadhog there, don't run into a small hallway with a Orisa. Just want to point that out. All right, good job taking the point there. There's no saving that at that point unless you have, like, an honor or, like, a burst steal. No, I know the Hog didn't even have it on him. I know. I saw the same thing. That was great. All right. So here is a situation where I would not be afraid to use your Moira ultimate aggressively to get out one of their ultimates. This would be actually a decent time to use your ult if you wanted to. I wasn't talking to the Roadhog, I meant the Moira, but that also works. You did go on... This is a weird team fight because you're going to look at that, chat, and be like, oh, the Moira kind of just pieced out there. But actually, I believe the Moira saved herself from getting EMP'd right there. By the Symmetra, not the Symmetra, yeah, Symmetra has EMP now, by the Sombra. So, like, it kind of worked out. But yeah, you want to be a little bit more active with your team. What I would have done is try to be more aggressive after the EMP and keep my teammates alive. I think that would have been like a good play to do with your ultimate if you don't know what to do there. And at the very worst, you end up trading out one of their ultimates if you get a kill, maybe a Lifeweaver tree, maybe a Zenyatta ultimate. It all worked out because your teammates did end up getting kills. But going back to what I was just saying, I would have, like, tried to be a little bit more proactive with that. But it all worked out. Your teammates won the team fight, and now you can be aggressive. So...
No one can hide from my sight.
I was actually just thinking their team should flank you with an Orisa and a Life Weaver tree. So it was good to see their team had the same mindset I had on that one. Of just popping, running on the flank with a Life Weaver tree. So that seems to be all right. Well, your team's doing a pretty good job. Getting through this point can be really, really difficult. Good job they're getting the kill. Make sure to pay attention to your hog. Your hog seems to run at them in a straight line sometimes. So you got to be careful. Yep. Yeah, imagine if they ever did that. They just, rather than like get rid of like, you know, all that like hacks and stuff, they just double down and just give more heroes EMP. I don't know, like, I'll be real with you. Your team wasn't there. When you go in here by yourself and you do this type of angle, it looks like it's going to work really well on paper, but the problem is that nobody else can really follow up in this situation with where you're at. So instead, what you want to do is you want to be in a spot that's a little bit more advantageous that gives you the ability to back up while also still doing damage. So next time, I wouldn't take this wide swing here behind them unless you have like a perfect, like, kind of like pinch happening from both sides of this. Look where your team's at in general. You're just not in a spot to be able to win that. I understand it looked like it was going to be a good play, but you need to be in a spot where they can't follow up on you. Sometimes you need to think about what your teammates can do follow-up wise. Let's say you do get a kill there, but your whole team's dead. What is the value you get there? I would say you might get a little bit of space control by a little bit, but all it's going to do is get the cart to here, and that isn't really worth wasting an ultimate on. I think your team's worrying too much about this Sombra. You can turn around at any point to help with the Sombra as long as you play as a core. So yeah, just pay attention to your Zen. You're going to hear a Sombra in about 3 seconds behind you. Okay. That needs to be brought up here because, as you could tell, I was going to easily predict that play. You got to understand that Sombra has basically proven that she's going to keep going into these team fights over and over again, if you didn't notice that. So, like, they're eventually going to go for your Zenyatta. That's why you need to stick as a core. So, like, if your Zenyatta is not going to stick with you, you need to stick with your Zenyatta. I don't care if your Roadhog is getting mad that they're dying to the Orisa. They're running in at a straight line over and over again every single team fight and blaming everybody else for not blaming the Zen, even though the Zenyatta hasn't really been that effective against the Roadhog during most of those team fights. But you need to be in the back line there with your Zenyatta to keep your Zen alive, because you also have the ability to do a quick right-click without requiring that aim, which is good, because then you can stop the hack and keep your Zenyatta alive. Instead, you lose your Zen, and now you're down one. So, here we go. All right. Widow's getting good picks, but again, back to the Sombra. Okay. Still waiting. I'm okay with the damage orb. Remember, you don't have to go on that side angle to get the damage orb to do the same thing. It bounces off walls too. So, like, if you wanted to get it to go down that hallway, you just bounce it on the wall in front of you, and it should be fine. Like we just did right there. See? Yeah, you're all over the place now. Team just needs to settle. It's just been a death match for a little bit. So the Hog is just throwing now. Oh no, it's because they have a Zenyatta, so they can't play. I want to point out again, chat. Let's do a little bit of like we're gonna do a little bit of like discussion about the game here. Chat, what heroes are good against Roadhog? It's Mauga and it's Orisa. The Zenyatta is not the problem here, Roadhog. I hate to break it to you. Now, does the Zenyatta make it easier for them to be able to follow up on you? Absolutely. But you can't only lock Hog here and then try to blame everybody else for you not swapping, right? I don't care if people play only one character the whole time. Doesn't bother me, right? I'm always like, I work around my team. But you can't sit there and get mad at everybody when you're just playing into everything that is good against you. Even if you ban Zenyatta here, you're probably still going to get rolled by what I've seen. You're just running it down mid half the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, the Zenyatta, you're still going to fall over. They'll just replace the Zenyatta with like an Ana, unless Ana's banned. I think Ana's banned. But like, you're just going to have Orisa roll you, and they're just going to keep doing the same thing. Oh, if Zen's banned, you just blame them for not banning Orisa? True. Eventually, you just run out of bans, though, right? Orisa ult into a Hog, that's going to be good. Technically, Hog ult. Technically, Hog ult's really good against Orisa ult. Cozy, thanks for the gift and stuff. Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks. All right, so I really do need to talk about this for a bit here, Moira. I'm seeing a new trend recently where when these team fights get like all over the place, people start spinning in circles and don't know where to go. I want to stop seeing you go through this left hallway for a second and just make sure your teammates stay alive. What's happened right now is you've done a pretty rough job of keeping your teammates alive in the early part of the team fights, and that's where this team is just not like gelling, is basically you're just getting picked off really early every single time. So I really want to see you stop trying to like go to this left side and just like get kills and just keep your teammates alive in the back line for now. Don't even worry about your hog right now. Your hog has self-sustain. Just like worry about keeping everybody else alive here, right? Like keep your Zenyatta alive next time you see your Zen. Like keep your teammates alive in general during that. That's been the #1 problem, is like they're just getting free picks. I think you have to ult soon. Well, use an orb and then ult, I'd say. Perfect. That was a good ult. Good job. Good follow-up, good play. Here we go. For it. I mean, that was a good EMP. What I will say is it's really important to track ultimates, so in that situation, you know an EMP is coming back. You don't have to be the one on the cart. You don't have to stack the cart with, 18 people there. Also, your team just captured it. So good job by your team. Just kind of be ready for the EMP. Play a little bit further back. So you're on Kiriko now, which obviously I think you said you don't play as much Kiriko, so I will keep that into account. So let's do this.
Restoring balance.
And I mean, you gotta cleanse, like, it is what it is. One thing that I want to, and I'm trying to get better at Kiriko with this too, don't be afraid to do like some starting positions that are a little bit more aggressive, like, being like at this angle, or even being like right here or something ridiculous, because you can just TP away, right? Like, the point I'm making is a lot of really good Kirikos will actually take really aggressive angles at the beginning, as long as you don't get javelined here or randomly right-clicked, which I don't think you'll do. I think this is the best way and approach to play this angle. And then, or, one of these angles, and then you can just TP back to your teammates. Again, you said you don't play a ton of Kiriko, and as somebody who is still picking up some Kiriko, like, time, that's something I also need to do more of. There's a lot of damage output that I think Kiriko's miss out on. So just find that opportunity. It's a very simple tip, but like technically, if I'm correct, you can kind of, if you throw your healing papers out, you can take like a shot in between it, and that will always be damage you can do regardless. So you don't even have to hit a shot. You just like throw the damage out when you do it. And I think it's a good habit to get into. Like, it was something I didn't necessarily get into at first, but like I think what you do is like, yeah, is it 2 shots? I remember they changed the timings at one point where it used to be 2 shots and it was 1 shot. Is it 2 shots now per paper? Okay, so it's 2 shots. Okay, so basically it's 2 shots per paper. Remember at the beginning of Overwatch 2, they had that like back and forth for like a couple seasons. So, and what you do is you shoot, and then you do your heals, you do your shots, and you heal. And basically you just get in the habit of that. And even if you're missing, it's not even like, you don't even have to be like super accurate with it. It's just that random chip damage you will hit doing that adds up over time. And that's how you get more Kitsunes. That's how you randomly hit a headshot. That's how you get trades and win team fights. You can have a really huge impact on Kiriko when you do that. So, same rhythm as Vap, yeah. And that's something I'm still learning on Kiriko myself. So. Here we go.
What's up? I'm grateful.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Your team got rolled that team fight. As I talked about, you didn't really take the angles on that one. And you basically just played a very default static gameplay that got grinded down over time. Your team comp will get grinded down by that. So let's see. Wait for it. Yeah, you're just, okay, you're being very default in your gameplay right now. This is probably what happens when you don't play a hero consistently, as you had said during your description here. Yeah, you just got to play a little bit higher up on high ground, use your mobility, use your damage from range. You're not playing Moira anymore, and I think you're just adopting the Moira playstyle here. Remember that. You're not playing Moira, so play Kiriko. So don't be like, you don't have to be with your hog as much as you are. You don't have to do that, like, I know you want to help your hog, but at a certain point, the hog also needs to recognize that, like, it's not just because this is Zenyatta. And that's going to be on them at that point. I'm okay with a Kitsune. I would have, just a little bit of a note for people with Kitsune. When the Fox runs out here, that's the distance it goes. So if you run it into the wall, it's going to stop at the wall. So if you have the opportunity, I would like to see you go from here to there with it, because it's going to travel further and give you this whole high ground right here, and even residual effect. Like if you go here and back up a little bit, you'll have it for like temporarily. So I would like to see you use it more with further distance, because this is where the follow-up happens. Once you get past here and the lingering effect goes off, you don't benefit from it anymore. You see the problem? So just look to get it more on a way where the Fox can go as far as the game allows. And then that's where you get those really long Kiriko ultimates. Okay? Good job by your team still winning this, so... Does Kitsune go up? Yes, so yes, it does. So if you're saying, if you were to send Kitsune this way, would it go down that way? Yes. So if you were to send Kitsune here, as long as this doesn't run into a wall, the Fox would go down this way and go to as far as the game allows, of course, like based off of the range of Kitsune. So yes, if you do it from here, it will travel down. Yep. In fact, it's a very good ultimate to do because it benefits both ways. It benefits your teammates on high ground and benefits your teammates pushing in. Yep. It's a really good way to go about it. Absolutely. That's why, like, one of the scariest parts of Kitsune is near carts. I'm sure anybody who's played Kiriko, whether it's on the Twitch chat right now or whenever we have the YouTube video out, have had the moment where you go to launch your Kitsune, the cart gets in the way, and you have a 1-foot Kitsune. You go to launch it, the cart like turns at the wrong time, and you have a Kitsune that's like a foot. And you're like, okay, well, hopefully no one saw that. Still working on getting my Kitsune, everybody. My bad. Yeah. Ambitious cleanse, I know what you're going for, so I'll let you. You basically just want to keep your hog alive, and that is a trust play where you're like, I don't trust this hog, so you throw a cleanse. So, I get it. Didn't need it, but it's all hindsight. Good job on hearing the Sombra, because I think you're the only one who picked up on that.
Like a gentle rain.
Okay.
Hey,
Wait for it.
the breeze brings relief.
Yeah, a lot of just kind of nothing happening, but I mean, it's working temporarily, so that's good. Yep. Good job getting out. Good TP. There's definitely a Life Weaver who just ignored you and is now chasing a Bastion, and I'm really confused. Like, I'm still confused. Okay. That was almost as good as the flanked tree play we saw earlier. Remember the flank tree play on second point defense? I'm like, oh, okay, well, good luck. That was interesting. All right. Again, with Kitsune, I actually like the idea of being proactive here with your Kitsune once you get it, like kind of talking about dropping it down from the high ground. I'm always one person who tries to figure out a way to create a second team fight. You kind of knew the Sombra was there, so that's a little bit on you for not reacting to that or being prepared for it. Sombra was right in your face, but again, it goes back to inexperience on a hero can lead to decisions like that. Yes, I do love proactive Kitsunes. I think there's just too much value out of them that to save them for the right moment all the time, you can build so many ultimates. So speaking of aggressive Kitsunes, so I know I said I like aggressive Kitsunes. I like them when they're not in like a one-team fight. But still, you know what? I can't say I like aggressive Kitsunes and then complain when it's too aggressive. AKA you won the team fight and didn't need it. Is the Sombra going to backcap, chat? I feel like the Sombra's going to backcap. Now, they have actually a bunch of ultimates and you have none. You're going to lose the ults. So. go. Yeah, a lot happening here. Good save. Yeah. Now, in hindsight, you probably are thinking to go to the cart there. I just look at this as you probably lost the team fight. So that's kind of where I'm at. That Hog loves dueling the Orisa. Well, if they didn't have a Zenyatta, it would be so easy. Spoiler alert, it wouldn't be easy. All right, remember again, looking for damage on these angles. A little bit less heal body when you can. Obviously, you know, your teammates are flanking as Bastion in a straight line. It always amazes me how, like, that player was playing the most passive Widow of all time, goes on Bastion and starts turning the corner like he's Danny DeVito. Starts blasting. That was unlucky because you're trying to go back and save him. Try your best to heal the Hog here. A little bit of a note on perk selection, by the way. I think you pick the perk one that requires damage and does like the healing papers. I'll be honest with you, when you have, and this is something that I've done and it's actually been super helpful. If I'm correct, there is a minor perk that makes it so when your teammates get below 50% HP, you heal quicker. Do you see the point I'm making here? So if you're not able to do as much damage output as you would like, I feel like that perk would be better suited for a game like this where it's more of your teammates taking a bunch of damage. I take that one quite frequently when I go into more heal body mode because I just can't, either I just not in the mood for like going on damage the whole time or like I just need to be able to heal a little bit more than I normally would. So the point I'm making here is I would recommend that one when you get a tank like that because you'll just heal them quicker and it might give you a little bit more uptime and actually quicker Kitsunes. Oh yeah, it makes it fast. It makes it travel faster to low HP teammates. There you go. Yeah. So like just a recommendation on that perk selection for future reference in those type of games. Obviously, if you're in a game where you have like a self-sufficient, let's say like Wrecking Ball or something, like, yeah, you take the damage one because it's going to be more of you just kind of doing damage and angles. You're not going to be able to frontline as much. But in a situation like this where you have a Hog that's very adamant about running at the Orisa in a straight line, it might be a little bit more helpful to keep him alive during that, and maybe you end up having a better result. Anyway, back to this. I wanted to point that out as a note for that perk specifically. I would try to survive this, wait as long as you can, and then pop your ultimate. As long as you're... Yep, this is the correct play, chat. There's only 8 seconds. I would rather see the possibility of a play working here than just sitting on your ultimate. Yep. Technically, Hog Kitsune ultimate is one of the strongest, like, combos for Kitsune, because, like, you can shred people. That wasn't even though, like, the Hog has had some interesting choices this game, I think Hog did make the correct play there of being aggressive. It's just... They had numbers and a tree to go with it. Okay, let's do this. All right. You kept the same perk selection. Well, actually, I think you wanted the Swift Step one instead, which is fine. I like the Swift Step one. That's the attack speed one, I think. Dude, you're getting so unlucky with that. I saw what you were trying to do again. Every single time you go for a TP to save your teammates, someone runs in front of you, so you go like 2 feet. What rank is this? GM 5 on console. Yeah, I mean, this is a game of, like, there wasn't many swaps happening from your team, and, like, the other team didn't have to really think about strategy. They just had to be like, okay, we shoot at the Roadhog, we do this, and then that's that. I do think your Kiriko does have a lot to work on, and it's just more of a decision-making, but I think that's something you'll figure out over time. But definitely, you know, think about that perk selection and those off angles a little bit more, specifically in a game like this. Just TPing to save a tank is always a bad idea. It depends on where they're at. Obviously, if like you're behind a wall somewhere, there's actually some really good opportunities for saving your tank with that. It's the middle of like... Listen, here's the TPs that work fine in this situation. Say your tank's here and your tank's low. TP in here is going to be fine, right? You can TP, you can climb up here if you want to, you can go into here. Like, you have room to work with. It's the TPs where you TP like right here to save somebody because they're out of position. That right there is where you're going to run into an issue. They can still work, they're just a little bit more risky, right? I don't want to get people out of the habit of TP into a tank to save them because I think there's a lot of opportunity to do so. It has to be in the right spots. And generally that falls on your tank being in the proper positions. Or if I have a Kiriko, I try to like, if I know that's a possibility of a play, when I start to back up, I try to think about where my Kiriko will TP to. So when you have a Kiriko, sometimes as somebody on that team with a Kiriko, you can start to think about where you can go to for that safety net. So they can TP to you and save you. Oh, I went to your other teammate on accident. All right, see? Lose your Bastion. Bastion is very aggressive, so not surprised. Yep. There you go. Nice play, nice hook. I just play to live here. Play to live. So I want to point out to you in a second here. I'm okay with you if you go up above. Yeah. So a bit of a mistake you're making there. I want you to try to use your movement a little bit more to go up on the high ground. I think that this angle right here can actually win you the game. Going back here over and over again is going to be the problem. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I would rather you go up here and you can still see your teammates from this angle, see? And then be above them. Obviously, your Hog is going to struggle there, but you can have a little bit more opportunity from here. So yeah, here we go. Wait. Did I see this right, chat? It was a draw. The Orisa didn't get on the point. Look what the point is and look what the Orisa is. So it ended up being a draw. No one lost this game. It was just a draw. And just to show you, chat, here, by the way, and I want to go back here before we move on to the Kiriko stuff. Like, remember how the Roadhog said that, like, the ban on the Zenyatta is the reason why you lost here? I want y'all to, I'm gonna show you something here, chat. Do you notice anything about the damage numbers here when I'm holding tab here? The point I'm making here, I don't think the Orisa got 30,000 damage done by shooting at your Bastion or your, you on Kiriko or your Sojourn, etc. It's on the Roadhog, which means that the majority of the Roadhog's gameplay is running it at the Orisa, which again, going back to what I said earlier, it's the Orisa that's more of the problem than the Zenyatta, but we'll move on from there. On Moira, again, just keep trying to, you did pretty good on Moira, but I want you to stop doing like those, try to always go for angles, like help your team a little bit more. With Moira, if you're gonna play a hero that has a little bit less utility, you got to keep your other support alive, and I felt like that was a bit of an issue. So just make sure to focus on the next time. On Kiriko, we talked a lot about it. You got to angle more. You got to go for more damage output. Find time for damage and healing. Positioning has to be better. Perk selection, all of that. But you have, I kind of explained it in real time. You have a lot to work on Kiriko, but you admitted that Kiriko you were new to. But Kiriko's a good hero to pick up on. Just to point that out, it's always a good hero to have as like a pocket pick if like you can't make Moira work. So. But I think if you keep doing what you're doing, I think you can stay in that GM range. Obviously, I think hero pool wise, the more you expand it will get better. And yeah, it's, I think eventually you can get to that steady climb. You got this. You absolutely got this. If you like the video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. Leave a comment. All that helps. You want to submit your own spectating amongst other things? My Discord's where to do that. And if you want to watch more of these spectatings, we got a ton of them. So click the little box over here on the side. It's going to be a good one. With that being said, hope you all have an amazing day/night.